May 12th, 1945. A ridge overlooking the Watana Draw, Okinawa. The world is made of mud, mist, and the color gray. Rain, a constant, miserable drizzle, slicks the shattered tree trunks and turns the volcanic earth into a thick, grasping paste. For the men of the 6th Marine Division, this is a moment of reprieve, a quiet purgatory between the last firefight and the next. The air, heavy with the scent of cordite, rotting vegetation, and death, is still. Too still. You can hear the small sounds of survival, the metallic shink of a K-bar knife scraping mud from a boot heel, the soft, oiled whisper of a cleaning rod sliding down the barrel of an M1 Garand, the low, tired murmur of voices, men conserving energy, conserving hope. Among them moves Captain Philip H. Clark. He's not a large man, but he carries himself with the quiet, coiled intensity of a watch spring. While his men tend to their rugged, Parkerized M1s and battle-scarred Springfield 03s, weapons of war, built for abuse, Clark is tending to a masterpiece. He draws a soft cloth from an oilskin wrap and lovingly wipes a single drop of rain from the polished walnut stock of his personal rifle. It's a Winchester Model 70, pre-war. In the grime and misery of Okinawa, it looks impossibly out of place, like a concert violin at a back-alley brawl. Its deep, commercial-grade bluing shines with a luster no government-issue weapon possesses. Mounted atop it is a long, gleaming tube of brass and steel, an 8-power Untold target scope, an instrument of breathtaking precision. A young private, his face caked with mud, watches him. "Polishing the deer rifle again, Captain?" he says, the words a gentle ribbing that's been common for weeks. Another Marine chuckles, the sound dull in the damp air. "Don't get it too dirty, sir. Might void the warranty from the Sears catalog." Clark doesn't look up from his work. He just smiles faintly. He's heard it all before. His mail-order rifle, his toy. He'd brought it from home, a civilian weapon in a military world. To the hardened combat veterans who trusted their lives to the rugged, mass-produced tools of the Marine Corps, Clark's rifle was a curiosity, a joke. It was too pretty, too delicate. They saw a sporting rifle, something for bagging a buck in the Blue Ridge Mountains, not for killing a hidden enemy in a fortified cave. They saw the polished wood and imagined it cracking. They saw the complex high-magnification scope and imagined it fogging over or losing its zero in the first fall. What they didn't see was the man holding it. They didn't know that Captain Philip Clark was a distinguished civilian marksman, a champion who had spent thousands of hours on ranges, learning the intimate language of windage, elevation, and ballistics. They didn't know that he had hand-loaded the .30-06 cartridges for this very rifle, each one a perfect, consistent specimen of powder and lead. They didn't understand that in his hands, this wasn't just a rifle, it was a scalpel. He trusted its cold, mechanical perfection more than any weapon stamped with U.S. property. The Model 70's action was like glass. The trigger broke cleanly at precisely 2.5 pounds, and its barrel was a product of commercial artistry, not wartime expediency. The order comes down the line, passed from man to man in hushed tones. "Saddle up, we're moving." The men groan, hoisting their gear. The brief respite is over. Their objective is another nameless, numbered feature on a map, a jagged coral ridge that forms part of the interlocking defenses of the Shuri Line, the hardcore of Japanese resistance on Okinawa. To get there, they have to cross an open valley, a shallow bowl of churned mud and splintered trees. As they begin their descent, the mist thickens, swallowing the men ahead. The familiar sounds of the platoon on the move, the clink of gear, the squelch of boots and mud, seem muffled, swallowed by the oppressive silence. Captain Clark cradles his Winchester, the smooth wood cool against his hands. A corporal trudging beside him glances nervously into the gray void, his M1 held tight. "I don't like this, sir," the corporal mutters, his voice barely a whisper. "It's too quiet." Clark doesn't answer. He's already scanning the ridgeline on the far side of the valley, his eyes narrowed. He knows this kind of quiet. It's the silence of the hunter.
The deep, patient, terrible silence right before the trap is sprung.
The sound isn't the familiar heavy boom of an American rifle. It's a sharp, savage crack that tears through the damp air like a bullwhip, followed by a faint, buzzing hiss. It's the signature of a Japanese 6.5mm Arisaka rifle. The corporal beside Captain Clark grunts, a short, surprised exhalation of air, and collapses into the mud without a sound. A small, dark hole has appeared on his helmet just above the brim. For a frozen second, the platoon is paralyzed, a tableau of shock in the gray mist. Then, instinct takes over. "Sniper, get down!" The world erupts. Men throw themselves into the sucking mud, crawling behind shattered logs, scrambling for the meager cover of shell craters. Another crack echoes from the ridge, and a bar gunner cries out, clutching his shoulder. A third shot whips past Clark's head with a sound like tearing fabric. They are caught, pinned down in the open, 150 yards from the relative safety of the valley's slope. The shots are coming from the ridge in front of them, but the mist and the jungle-choked terrain make it impossible to see the source. The Japanese sniper is a ghost, a phantom dealing death from an invisible perch. The platoon's own designated marksman, a sergeant named Miller, crawls into position behind a termite mound, resting his Springfield M1903A4 on its surface. He squints through his issued 2.5 power Weaver M73B1 scope, a decent optic, but one designed for durability over clarity. "See him, Miller?" a lieutenant shouts over the sporadic firing. "Negative, sir. I can't see a damn thing. He's dug in too good." Miller scans the dense foliage, the dark mouths of caves, the jumbles of coral rock. The Japanese sniper is a master of his craft. He has chosen his hide perfectly, using natural shadows and layers of camouflage to blend seamlessly with the terrain. He fires, and then waits, utterly still, a patient predator. Panic, cold and sharp, begins to creep into the platoon. They are being dissected. A fourth shot ricochets off a rock, sending stone splinters flying. They realize with dawning horror that it might not be just one sniper. The angles of the shots feel different. It could be a team working in concert, creating a killing field with interlocking fire. The radio operator, huddled in a shallow ditch, tries to call for mortar support. "Mayday, this is..." He doesn't finish. A bullet punches through the bakelite casing of his SCR-300 radio, shattering it into useless pieces. The sound is followed by a cruel metallic whine as the round continues on its journey. They are alone, cut off. While the other Marines are consumed by the immediate, desperate fight for survival, Captain Clark is doing something else. He lies flat in the mud, perfectly still, his binoculars pressed to his eyes. He is not panicking. He is processing, analyzing. The distinct sound of the Arisaka, the interval between shots, the impact points of the bullets in the mud around his men. He's not thinking like a soldier being shot at. He's thinking like the champion shooter he is. He is deconstructing the problem. This isn't chaos to him. It's a complex geometry problem, and he is going to solve it. He sees a puff of dirt kick up 10 feet to the left of one Marine, then another kicks up 15 feet to the right of another. They aren't just shooting, they're ranging, bracketing, walking their fire onto targets with chilling precision. Ignoring the whistle of incoming rounds, Clark crawls deliberately toward his pack. The other Marines watch him with a mixture of confusion and raw fear. What is he doing? In the middle of this slaughter, he moves with a serene, almost detached purpose. He unstraps the canvas scabbard containing his rifle. He gently withdraws the Winchester Model 70. The polished wood and gleaming steel seem absurd in this landscape of mud and blood. The mockery from earlier now feels like a memory from another lifetime. No one is laughing now. They are watching, their eyes wide with a desperate, burgeoning hope. Clark crawls to a slight rise in the ground, a small swell of earth that gives him a clear, if terrifyingly exposed, line of sight to the ridge. He pulls a sandbag from his pack, places it, and rests the rifle's forest stock on it. The movement is fluid, economical, born of 1,000 hours of practice.
He cycles the bolt, the action so smooth it makes almost no sound, and chambers a single, hand-loaded .30-06 round. He settles his cheek against the cool, smooth walnut stock. It feels like an extension of his own body. The world of chaos, of shouting men and cracking rifles fades away. It all dissolves until there is nothing left but the view through the Untold scope. The 8-power magnification brings the enemy ridge rushing toward him. The world shrinks, becoming a perfect, clear circle of light. He scans the ridge, past the rocks and the shattered trees, his vision a predatory sweep. And then he stops. He focuses on a dense clump of ferns and vines, something no naked eye would ever look at twice. But through the Untold's powerful lens, something is wrong. A shadow that is too deep. A shape that is too regular. He adjusts the fine focus. The image sharpens into crystal clarity. And he whispers, to the mud, to the rain, to the rifle in his hands, there you are.
Through the Untold's lens, the world a quarter of a mile away is rendered in impossible detail. While Sergeant Miller's standard-issue scope shows a blurry wall of green, Captain Clark sees individual leaves slick with rain. He sees the intricate web of a spider, its silk beaded with mist. And he sees the lie. The Japanese sniper is an artist of invisibility. He is burrowed into the base of a banyan tree, its tangled roots providing a natural bunker. He has woven a screen of live vegetation into a burlap hood, leaving only a tiny shadowed slit for his rifle barrel and his eyes. To the naked eye, he is nothing more than another lump of jungle. But to Clark, magnified 8 times, the deception reveals its flaws. He sees a single leaf turned the wrong way, its pale underside facing out. He sees a piece of burlap whose color is just a shade too brown for the surrounding earth. And most damning of all, he sees a tiny, almost imperceptible shimmer in the air near the firing slit. The faint heat signature of a living, breathing man. This is the difference. The standard-issue Springfield sniper rifle was a soldier's weapon. The Winchester Model 70, with its target scope, was a surgeon's tool. Clark becomes a statue. He controls his breathing, slowing his heart rate, just as he did in countless competitions. Inhale, exhale. He feels the light pressure of the trigger against his finger pad. The Japanese sniper is looking for his next target. Clark can feel the man's patience, his confidence. He is the master of this valley. Then, a young Marine, desperate to improve his position, makes a sudden dash from a shallow crater toward a fallen log. It's a fatal mistake. Through his scope, Clark sees the slightest shift in the sniper's hide, a minor adjustment. The enemy is taking the bait. The barrel of the Arasaka is moving, tracking the running Marine. This is the moment. Clark has already done the calculations in his head. The distance, approximately 450 yards. The wind, a negligible drift from left to right. The bullet drop for his 173-grain boat-tail round, he knows it to the inch. He holds the crosshairs not on the sniper, but a few inches above the shimmer of heat, leading him by a whisper. He exhales, emptying his lungs, and in the quiet space between heartbeats, he squeezes the trigger. The Winchester barks, a clean, sharp report that is utterly distinct from the other weapons on the field. The polished stock pushes firmly, not violently, against his shoulder. For a fraction of a second, he loses the image in the scope's recoil. When it settles back on target, the scene has changed. The patch of vegetation on the distant ridge erupts. The burlap hood is thrown backward, and a dark shape is hurled from the shadows of the banyan roots. It's a shocking, final, and undeniable movement. Then, silence. The single, terrifying crack of the Arasaka from that position is gone. The oppressive fire that had pinned them down from the center has vanished. The Marines in the mud around Clark slowly lift their heads. They stare first at the ridge, then back at the captain and his gleaming rifle. The disbelief is palpable. The deer rifle, the mail-order toy, had just reached out across a valley and surgically removed a ghost. The laughter is dead. In its place is a spreading sense of awe. But Clark is already moving. He works the Winchester's smooth bolt action, ejecting the spent brass casing and chambering a fresh round. He knows this isn't over. A professional sniper team works in tandem. Taking out one only serves to alert the others. He's won the first duel, but the battle for the valley has just begun. His thoughts are confirmed by another sharp crack, this one from a completely different sector, high on the right flank of the ridge. A bullet picks up mud just inches from his head. The second sniper has his location. The hunt is on. Clark doesn't flinch. He presses his cheek back to the walnut stalk, his eye finding the scope. His world shrinks again to that bright, clear circle, and he begins to scan the rocks, his gaze methodical, patient, and lethal.
The duel is over. The extermination has begun. Captain Clark understands something fundamental about the men hunting him. They are creatures of geometry and discipline. A sniper team doesn't choose its positions at random. They establish interlocking fields of fire, creating a web of death. Taking out one hunter doesn't just eliminate a threat, it reveals the architecture of the entire trap. The second shot came from the high right. Clark ignores the direct threat for a moment and instead points to a cave mouth on the left flank, nearly invisible in the shadows. "Miller," he yells, his voice cutting through the tension. "You and Richards, put fire on that cave, left of the blasted pine." The two Marines don't question him. They open up with their Garans, the steady ping, ping, ping of the en-bloc clips echoing across the valley. It's not about hitting anything, it's about making noise, creating a diversion, forcing the remaining snipers to react. It's psychological warfare fought at 1,000 feet per second. As Miller and Richards suppress the left, Clark swings the Untold scope back to the high right, to the jumble of coral rock where the second shot originated. He knows the second sniper is now focused on the source of the new American fire, trying to locate the machine gun he believes is there. It's a classic misdirection, and the enemy sniper falls for it. For just a moment, a helmet, poorly camouflaged with netting, rises above a parapet of rock. The sniper is trying to get a better angle on the suppressing fire. It's all Clark needs. The Winchester speaks again. The helmet disappears. The second ghost is gone. Now he can work. He directs the platoon with quiet, deadly authority. He has them lay down controlled bursts of fire on suspected locations, not to kill, but to draw a response. It's a terrible arithmetic. A burst of American fire in one direction forces a Japanese head to lift in another. And in that moment, Clark is waiting. He spots the third. This one is clever, hidden in the dense upper branches of a leafy tree, a spider hole nest. But the rifle's recoil, however minimal, causes the leaves around him to shudder in a way that is just slightly out of sync with the wind. To Clark, it's as obvious as a signal flare. The third shot from the Winchester is precise. A dark bundle tumbles from the canopy and crashes to the jungle floor. By late afternoon, the valley is theirs. The Japanese sniper team, 4 elite, patient, and deadly soldiers, has been dismantled, erased. The platoon, which had been on the verge of annihilation, rises from the mud, shaken but alive. They look at Captain Clark not with curiosity, but with a profound, almost fearful respect. The Winchester is no longer a joke. It's an oracle. A legend is being born in the blood-soaked mud of Oklahoma. Word travels fast in the tight-knit world of frontline Marines. The story of the captain with the mail-order rifle who single-handedly broke a sniper ambush spreads down the line like a brush fire. The next morning, a runner from another company finds Clark. Their advance has been stalled for 12 hours by a single, well-hidden sniper on a feature called Sugarloaf Hill. Clark goes. With him is his Winchester and the cold, methodical focus of a master craftsman. He spends an hour studying the hill, watching, waiting. He sees nothing, but he notices the pattern. The sniper only fires when a supply jeep makes a turn on a narrow service road below. He's patient, disciplined, so Clark waits for the next jeep. As it approaches the turn, he scans the hillside through the Untold. He sees a glint. Not from a scope, this sniper isn't using one, but from a pair of binoculars. The sniper's spotter. Clark ignores the sniper and aims for the spotter hidden in a bush 50 yards to the left. The shot is perfect. The sniper, now blind, fires a panicked, unaimed shot, revealing his position in a pillbox slit. Clark's second shot follows a heartbeat after the first. The problem on Sugarloaf Hill is solved. 2 days, 7 enemy snipers. Each kill is a testament to the rifle they mocked. Its superiority wasn't magic, it was engineering. The Model 70's trigger had no creep, no grit. It broke like a glass rod, allowing for a perfect surprise shot. Its commercial-grade barrel, free-floated from the stock, vibrated consistently, shot after shot. Unlike the military rifles, whose barrels were often warped by pressure from their wooden stocks. And Clark's hand-loaded ammunition provided a ballistic consistency that factory-made military rounds could never match. He had brought a Formula One race car to a demolition derby, and its performance was changing the equation of the battlefield. But as the count rises, something shifts in Clark. This is no longer just about saving his men. It's becoming personal. He lies on a ridge, his eye pressed to the scope, scanning the war-torn landscape. He knows that out there, in a similar hide, another man is doing the exact same thing. A man just as patient, just as skilled. A man who is no longer just hunting Marines, but is now hunting him. The hunter has become the hunted, and a cold realization settles over him. This has become the most intimate and most deadly competition of his life. The fourth day, May 15th, 1945. The 6th Marine Division is now fighting in the hellscape of the Shuri defensive line.
The battlefield is no longer jungle and ridge, but a surreal maze of shattered villages, ancient stone walls, and thousands of honeycombed tombs carved into the hillsides. Every pile of rubble, every darkened doorway, every ancestral crypt is a potential fortress. Captain Clark is physically and emotionally drained. The strain of constant high-stakes focus is immense. Sleep offers little rest, filled with images viewed through a circular lens. He is now a specialist, a phantom deployed by command to solve impossible problems. And the problem today is the worst yet. A single Japanese sniper has completely halted the advance of an entire company of the 22nd Marines. He operates from the ruins of a small village clinging to the side of Shuri Ridge. For 2 days, he has killed or wounded every Marine who has tried to cross a specific 200-yard stretch of open ground. He is methodical, unnervingly intelligent, and invisible. He never fires from the same position twice. His targets are chosen with chilling precision. Officers, radio operators, medics. They believe he is a high-ranking officer, an expert from one of Japan's elite sniper schools. And they believe he knows Clark is coming for him. The legend of the Marine with the deer rifle has crossed battle lines. The Japanese are now actively hunting the hunter. Clark finds a position in the attic of a blasted-out farmhouse, giving him a panoramic view of the ruined village. For hours, he does not even touch his Winchester. He just watches through his binoculars, a map laid out beside him. He isn't looking for a man, he's looking for a pattern, a system. He marks the location of every known kill on his map. He draws lines of sight. He studies the shadows as the sun moves across the sky. He is mapping his enemy's mind. He realizes the sniper is using the ancient burial tombs, the haka that dot the hillside. They are perfect sniper hides, thick stone walls for protection, small shadowed openings for firing ports, and a network of tunnels and trenches connecting them. A direct assault would be suicide. Trying to spot a muzzle flash among the dozens of dark openings is impossible. Then he sees it. Not a mistake, but a tell. A flicker of logic in the chaos. The sniper always fires when Allied artillery is landing, using the deafening crump of the explosions to mask the sharp crack of his own rifle. A new barrage is scheduled in 20 minutes. Clark formulates a plan. He calls over a bar gunner. When the arty starts, he instructs, I want you to fire 3-second bursts at the entrance to that largest tomb on the left, the one with the dragon carving. Fire, wait 10 seconds, fire again. Understand? The gunner nods. This is the bait. The Japanese sniper, a creature of discipline, will expect Clark to be watching the target of the suppressing fire, waiting for him to reveal himself. It's the logical move. But Clark isn't logical. He's a predator. He ignores the large tomb completely. Instead, he aims his Winchester at a different location entirely. A tiny, insignificant-looking crack in the wall of a much smaller tomb, 50 yards to the right. It's a secondary position, an observation post or an escape route. It's the place the sniper would feel safest, the place he would use to watch the American trap unfold. The American artillery begins to walk across the ridge. The world trembles. The bar opens up, hammering the main tomb entrance with .30 caliber rounds. The noise is apocalyptic. Clark is deaf to it all. His entire being is focused through the unertal scope on that small, dark crack in the stone. He waits. The bar stops. The artillery lifts. For a few seconds, an eerie silence falls. And then, a flicker of movement. A shadow within the shadow. The Japanese sniper, confident he has outsmarted his opponent, peeks from his observation post to assess the situation. For less than a second, a face, bisected by the glint of a binocular lens, appears in Clark's crosshairs. There is no time for thought, only instinct honed over a lifetime. The Winchester fires. The shot is an afterthought, the conclusion to a problem already solved. Through the scope, the image in the crack vanished. The spell is broken. The unseen threat that had paralyzed a company of Marines is gone. This is his 11th kill in 4 days. Later, as the Marines finally advance through the village, they find the sniper. He was an officer, as suspected. Beside his body lay a high-quality Arisaka Type 97 sniper rifle with a telescopic sight. A worthy opponent. Captain Philip H. Clark and his mail-order rifle had turned the tide in their small corner of the war. They proved that in the brutal calculus of combat, the skill of the man and the quality of his tool could triumph over standard-issue conformity. The Winchester Model 70, the Deer Rifle, the Joke, would eventually be officially adopted by the U.S. Marine Corps, becoming the legendary weapon of choice for a new generation of snipers, including the famed Carlos Hathcock in Vietnam. Its legacy as one of the most effective sniper platforms in history wasn't forged in a government factory or a military proving ground. It was born in the mud and rain of Okinawa, in the hands of one man who knew its secret and used it to hunt the hunters.